We're trying this again. Take 2. Hopefully we have a stable connection now. We shall find out. Everybody jump back in. Sorry. Hopefully restarting the stream has fixed our issues here. I don't think I've ever started a stream without some kind of technical issue. Oh, yeah. So you can feel better about everything that you do that you have a lot of problems in, because I have a problem every time I start a stream. It's always some kind of shit show. Something always goes wrong. Now we get our music and our confetti again, though. You can just dance with me here. Clearly, I'm not the dancer in the family. Hey, thank you so much, sweet me. I appreciate that. It is a labor of love. Candy Thunder says, we'll just rename Lives the Shit Show. I think it's the most applicable title there is. Everybody loves the bluey shirt. Where did you get that from again, Candy Thunder? You'll throw it. I may have to write it down so I remember. Hey, Schmutz agrees. Hashtag shitstorm. It's the shitstorm show. Shitstorm show. Shit show storm. And we're back. I don't see any messages now about things failing, so hopefully that's good. So the thing that I was trying to explain before was that we have the former live streams that we've done for TikTok. We have the ability to download those. They don't show any of the interactions or anything like that. So you'll hear me talking. Hey, thank you for the hat. Appreciate that. You'll hear me talking, but you don't see that kind of stuff on what we download. You don't see like any of the gift things. You don't see any of the animations pop up or anything like that. So you still get the stories though, and you still get all of the chatting. So those will be, the full shows will be on YouTube starting weekly, and we'll have those available so you can go check them out in case you ever miss a live. So you will never miss anything. Anything. What did I get wrong? Magical Mama's Handmade. She's on Facebook and Insta. That's where the shirt came from. That's where it came from. Nicole says her 4-year-old has acquired a Moira accent at random. Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Miles and Mama are here. Heather J, thank you so much for the cap. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I want to hear a 4-year-old with a Moira accent. You've got to film this and you've got to tag us, because that seems like it would be super cool. Somebody had a question up here before. Lindsay says Bluey's on in the background. Dusty Thunder on the live stream wearing a Bluey shirt. Heck yeah. Haley Guy said, is the music on purpose? I redid the intro, so we had the music in the beginning. I'm just a little pepe. Yes, we have a YouTube channel. And actually, here's the cool part about the YouTube channel. Not all of the videos that I create on Sunday nights, which is when I typically do batches of videos, make it to TikTok. They all do get scheduled out for publishing on YouTube. And every Wednesday, I can't remember what time, but every Wednesday morning, a compilation for that entire batch will go out. So there is a lot more content on YouTube than you'll get by just watching on TikTok. You definitely need to check that out. Catherine, what is going on? Unstable internet connection again. Not liking that. Miles and Mama says, my friends always laugh when I do accents when I'm pretending. Is going on with our internet connection here. Okay, well, I'm just going to ignore it and trudge through it and hope that it stabilizes. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, Nicole says it's TikTok. It might just be them. Hopefully that we'll just deal with it, man. We'll still deal with it. Can you hear it whenever it freezes up? Can you still hear it? Bluey shirt for the win. Heck yeah. Fen, just sorry for the freezing, man. Resumes fine. Okay. All right. Well, No audio stops as well. Okay. No sound and no audio froze. No, but it doesn't cut out any words somehow. Odd. Yeah, apparently this is a TikTok issue. I don't know that there's anything that I can do to fix this. I could reduce my stream quality, my video bit rate, but I'd have to end the stream again to do that, and I want to try to not do that. So, let's try to do this without, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we're going to dive into our first story here and hope that things stabilize. And yeah, that's all we can do. We'll just hope. We're just going to hope. Before I do that, Candy Thunder's podcast part 2 comes out on Sunday at noon Central Standard Time, and a teaser for that was just posted a little bit ago as a TikTok post, and that one includes bloopers at the end. So if you have not seen that yet, definitely go watch it. Has anybody already seen part 1? The part 1 podcast with Candy Thunder. It's up on YouTube, and as well, you can hear it on all of the normal podcast channels. She had good takes. Yeah, she's a smart lady. Definitely a smart lady. Yeah. You watched it while cooking? Cool. So there's a really painful part of part 1 for me. And that is that, when we do podcasts, I'm pretty much a one-man show, except for my guest. My guest, who obviously I'm not going to have do any kind of work because they're my guest, but I do all of the setting up of the multiple cameras and all the audio and that kind of thing. And when I set hers up after the fact, or about halfway through, realized that her camera was slightly out of focus. So anytime she leaned back at all, she was like a complete blur. And and I'm a video guy, so it's so painful for me to see that. Luckily, most people just listen to it, so you don't really notice it anyway. But I know it's there, and it really bugs the hell out of me. Well, it hurts. I fixed it for part 2, though. Part 2 is crisp. It's crisp. She's a smart gal. She's a smart gal. Okay, let's dive into our first story. First, I need a sip of the Jelt coffee. And you got to chase it with a sip of water, right? I'm going to have like 5 cups here soon. Just two today. Val's driving. The love for Schitt's Creek is not, limited to us. We know a lot of people here in the Midwest that are huge Schitt's Creek fans. And it's a great show. It's great comedy, great writing. Y'all Canadians you've got it locked down. You're just funny as hell. Maybe I was born to be a Canadian. I don't know. Okay, our first post comes from the Reddit Dusty Thunder subreddit. And this one is, am I the astronaut for holding a grudge against my future mother-in-law? 3 years ago when I got my real estate license, my fiancé, 23 female, and I, 26 male, went to her family's Thanksgiving. We live about 3 hours away from them near a beach. After dinner, my future mother-in-law pulled me to the side and said that we should move to where she lived, BFE. She said I could be an agent with her aunt that is retiring soon and would love to pass her clients off to someone in the family, saying she had a $1 million business. I politely said thanks, but no thanks. Sounded too good to be true, and I liked my brokerage. Also, I didn't want to leave the beach. Well, the following week when we got home, my future brother-in-law asked me to make the move as well, saying it's a great opportunity. I trusted him more than my future mother-in-law. I said I'd think about it, but no promises. I pulled the trigger to move later that year, and I inherited around $30,000 from my dad passing. Also because I hadn't had any new clients due to my herniating the disc in my back multiple times and having a long recovery time. So it seemed like a good choice. 2 weeks before the move, my future mother-in-law said she has a rental property she's trying to sell and wanted to know if I'd be interested in buying it for a family discount. Excuse me. Making sure it was in our price range, I agreed to check it out. Went to check it out, and it was an actual house of horrors. I'm a big fix-it-yourself kind of guy, but holy hot damn. Roaches everywhere. Everywhere? Yes, everywhere. All caps. In everything. Roach excrement in and on everything. The stove was rusted and had a huge hole in it, and the cabinets had hundreds of dead roaches in them. Roaches coming out of the actual electrical sockets and walls, along with the roof needing to be replaced, as well as literally everything in there. With a heavy heart, I passed, LOL. Future mother-in-law was sad and shocked, saying we could try and work something out, but I said, no, thank you. I told her I could help sell it, but that was about it. I have nightmares about that place. After that shit show, we moved in with my future mother-in-law. We expected it to be a short time until we could find our own place and get everything sorted. I was wrong. The first week we were unpacking when we found out my fiancé was pregnant. So I set up a meeting with the $1 million aunt and... Oops, sorry. Let me go back. So I set up a meeting with the $1 million aunt I had heard so much about the next day. Fast forward to the meeting and she tells me she has nothing for me. No leads for me. She said she doesn't even have room in her brokerage for me. She said that her business over the past 5 years has slowed down because she's trying to retire soon and can't help at all. I went back to the house absolutely devastated and confused. I told my fiance and she was pissed. I talked to future mother-in-law and she said, oh, she's just recovering from surgery. Everything will be okay. It wasn't. I waited until the aunt finally sent me an email of brokerages in the area that I could work at, then said sorry she couldn't help more. I felt so stupid for trusting her, but I didn't think she would screw us over like that. I moved my life and everything started to fall apart. Why would she do that? Due to a series of more unfortunate events and a miscarriage, we are stuck here for another year to save for a place. She never apologized nor even acknowledged the trap she put us in. She acts so nice, but I secretly can't stand her. My fiance has forgiven her mother, but I never will. Also, I know it was incredibly dumb on my part to not have reached out to the aunt first. Who lies about that, though? Am I the asshole? Oh, boy. Hey, thank you guys for the balloons. I appreciate that. Landry, Brandy. You guys are just going back and forth here. Holy hot damn. That's right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. Sir and Waffles, there you are. Heather J with the marvelous confetti. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I'm sure my chat is lagging again because it does that. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad he addressed this in the last line. He knows it was incredibly dumb on his part to have not reached out to the aunt first. Like, if you are moving somewhere far away and uprooting your entire life to make a brand new start, you got to have every box checked, right? I mean, you've got to do that on more than a promise. You have to have an actual plan in place. And I'm sure that future mother-in-law had good intentions here and probably thought she had more pull than she did, or just doesn't understand what it takes to actually make these kinds of things happen. I don't think she was being malicious. I think she was probably actually trying to help. So OP here, which this comes from the Dusty Thunder subreddit, so OP may or may not be in chat today, but I think this is more on OP than anybody here. Yeah, mothers-in-law always have their own motives, and I'm sure that has something to do with it. Maybe she was just trying to get her daughter back in the area, and maybe there's a health thing that she's wanting to keep them around for, but my gut here says that she was trying to help, but didn't have as much ability to help as much as she thought she did. But it doesn't matter. Even if she had the ability to do everything she said that she could do, I think those are conversations you have ahead of time first, and make sure that you have a job secured and make sure that you have a place to live nailed down and all of these things in place before you uproot everything and move that way. I don't know. But I'm also, I get anxiety when there isn't a plan. So I would have been like, okay, all of these things need set up ahead of time. Otherwise, we're just going to end up on the street down there. We're just picking up everything and living in our car. OP is also very young. I think we need to cut him some slack. Lunabella says, you're right. He's 26 and his fiance is 23. That is definitely a good point. This is something that, I mean, thank goodness it wasn't later on in life and they had, kids and they had a lot more that could be affected by this kind of thing. So if you're going to do something crazy like this, early 20s is the time to do it. I think there's also an element of this where if you're looking at the survival of your family, your ability to say, I only want to do X or Y goes out the window. If you're looking at the stability and survival of your family, you've got to be open to anything. And now there are more remote jobs available that would have been options for OP, although it may not be in the real estate realm. It would be at least something to give them some freedom and buy them some time until they got something stable nailed down. So that's my thought there, is that this is a lot of poor planning on OP's part. Mother-in-law may have an ulterior motive there. May. We don't know that, though. She really could have just been doing something out of the kindness of her heart, which I guess she really didn't do much. She may have been thinking that the stars would align. She may have been looking at this scenario with rose-tinted glasses. Free childcare, though. Yeah, right, you're right. She ended his career and made him start over. I don't think she made him do that, though. I'm going back. Going back. Okay, so because OP hadn't had any new clients due to herniating a disc in his back multiple times and having a long recovery time, that's why it was a good time for them to do that pivot. And again, going back to the beginning where future mother-in-law is dangling this $1 million business in front of him, that's a conversation you cannot take a third party's face value statement on it. You can't. You'd be like, oh yeah, Aunt Clarine, she's got this $1 million business. She'll just welcome you with open arms. It's going to be fine. Go ahead and uproot your whole family right now. Get in the car. Actually, I'll help you pack. No, that would be a phone call. That would be a meeting. That would be like a contract signing. This would be something that there was an actual plan in place for him. But then she had brother-in-law call him too. You're right. Yep. Yeah. And where is he in all this after the fact? He doesn't show up again. Nowhere to be found. But I do think that this might be an everyone sucks here kind of scenario. I think we can probably agree on that. Does that sound right? Everyone sucks here. Yeah, he finally went to meet the aunt. Yep, that's rough. I think it's poor planning. I think it was over-promising from multiple people here, and the aunt probably didn't know anything about it until he finally, after moving there, went and talked to her. And that's rough. I think you got to have a better plan from that. Also, live and learn, because like you guys are saying, they are young. And these are kind of these are the mistakes that you make when you put too much trust in people. This is how you become a crotchety old 40-year-old, because you trust that people are just going to deliver on everything that they say, and then you get burned. And then you start yelling at kids to get off your lawn. It's pretty much that sequence of events. Everyone sucks here. Everybody sucks in this story today. Yeah. That is right. Okay, there is something I want to show you. Is there anything else we want to talk about in this story? I feel like it was just kind of a, boom. His fiancé has forgiven her mother. Of course she did. And fiancé, what does fiancé do? Does fiancé do anything, or is OP the only one that works here? Not sure. Yeah, there could have been multiple ulterior motives here. Words are still hard. Ulterior. There are some really good bloopers in the teaser that was posted today for part 2 of the Candy Thunder, the Candy Thunder podcast. You got to watch it. Words are really hard for me sometimes. Today's probably one of those days. Brandy, thank you for the microphone. Appreciate that. Finja, thank you for the paper crane. Is the stream stabilizing now? If you guys, are you seeing any more freeze ups or anything like that? Or are we in good shape now? Welcome. If you're just joining in, welcome. We just finished reading one story. We're getting ready to start a second one. It's better. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I said thank you so much. Right after talking about words being hard. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Okay, so one thing I did want to show you and get some of your feedback on was we are looking at pivoting our brand essentially from Reddit Set It to Dusty Thunder, and thinking that that will accomplish a couple of things. Number one, which by the way, I say number one way too many times. I create a numbered list every time I do a video. Number one, we will have the ability to cover more than just Reddit stories. So it gives us some freedom there. Number two, I think a lot of people refer to our channel by Dusty Thunder now anyway. So this, I think, is going to be an applicable pivot. And let me show you what we have right now. Let's take a look, see if we can get this to work. Dusty Thunder. Check this out. So this would be logo assets. This would also be the first round of t-shirt material here too. So the team here at Storm has jumped in and created this really cool graphic. We have the astronaut little dude that is our astronaut mascot, and yeah, Dusty Thunder from down under. So we actually have planets that are representative of each ascon level here, and Shane, our motion graphics badass here, has been working on a baller new intro, and it's gonna be new music, it's gonna be new backgrounds, it's gonna be new everything. It's gonna be cool. Little excited about it, little excited, and I think I have to get an actual astronaut helmet now to wear on live streams sometimes. Hey Tony, can you find me a real life astronaut helmet to wear on stream? He's shaking his head no. I need some support here from chat. Should I get an astronaut helmet to wear on live stream? Sometimes, not every time, but sometimes. Oh yeah, Astronaut Man throwing back to MTV when they still played music. Yes, Alexa says no. Did you say no to the astronaut helmet? Absolutely not. Hard pass. I wouldn't put it on every time, but come on. That's a cool thing. All right, let me get back to this, and we'll dive into the next story here. I do have a lot of astronaut stuff, though, that I'll just be able to start putting in frame now, so that'll be cool. An ascon helmet. Here, okay, pretty much you guys will be the only ones that know this, but in the intro that we're working on, the little astronaut guy flies past all of the ascon planets and then gets sucked into a black hole that happens to be the pucker of, the a-hole design from there's an assholery shirt design that was out before that had the pucker design around it. So the black hole that he goes into is an actual pucker black hole. Some symbolism going there. Anyway, the next one that we have here is a follower submission, and this one is called, Am I the Thunderhole for choosing to help my sick mother over spending time with my fiancé? Oh boy. My fiancé, 35 male, has given me, 33 female, an ultimatum. Should we just go ahead and do this now? There we go. Him or my mother. Backstory, my fiancé and I are high school sweethearts and have been together off and on for over 20 years. We have been solidly together for 8 years. Our relationship has never been the greatest, but we do love each other. My mom has recently had severe health issues that had her on life support and in the hospital over a month and a half. She has been extremely weakened by this experience and can no longer take care of herself without some assistance. We can't afford an in-home nurse, and she doesn't want to go to a rehab facility. I have home health aide experience and am her only child, so I stepped up. We moved in, and I took over all household responsibilities, as well as helping her in the bathroom and shower, and other medical things that only I was trained to do for her, as my father is physically unable to do many of these tasks. I also go to school full-time, and I am trying to earn a bachelor's degree. My fiancé works as a butcher, and most nights after work, he wants me to go with him to places to hang out with him and his friends. However, my mom is in need of so much care that I can't find time to leave the house most of the time. And when I do go with him, I find myself often in uncomfortable situations that feel unsafe, even though he insists that I will be fine. I am 33. I do not want to go out and party anymore. Let's just go ahead and do this again. Finding herself in situations that feel unsafe, that That doesn't sound promising. And really the only information we have on that right now is that she doesn't want to go out and party anymore. But we'll go ahead and finish this out. He started going out every night by himself. I had to file 2 missing person reports for him in just as many weeks. Come on. One time finding him at the troopers' barracks due to driving under the influence. Now he has stopped coming home altogether. If I am lucky, I see him once a week. He has been staying at a hotel with another woman and told me that it is my own fault because I have devoted so much time to my mom that I have made no time for him. Am I the asshole? What? This just took so many turns right at the end. I don't know how to keep up with it. Okay, hold on. Okay. There are so many things going on here that we've got to address it one by one. Okay, first of all, if you end up in a situation where a parent or family member or someone you love ends up needing in-home care and can't afford it, there are tons of state-run programs that are government-funded programs, but they allow you to have an in-home aid without it being a private pay thing. Most of this flows through Medicare. Anyway, there are ways to make that happen. And even if you want to be that person that is the in-home attendant, you can be compensated for that. So essentially that can become your paying job. So that's the first thing that I was thinking here. So if you did that, you would still have school. You would probably be just as busy as you are now. So that doesn't really solve anything on the time thing. Now your fiance, he didn't really give you an ultimatum. It kind of seems like he just already made a choice. It's not a choice at this point. He's staying in a hotel room with another woman. Back up for a second. Before that, he just stopped coming home. How old is this guy? 35? He's 35. 35. Still in his party phase. Has had 2 missing persons reports filed on him. He was picked up by the troopers, and now he just stopped coming home. But it's this last paragraph. Now he's just stopped coming home altogether. I'm lucky if I see him once a week. He's staying at a hotel with another woman. That was a pivot. Hi, D1027. Thank you so much for the galaxy. Appreciate that. I'm confused. Fall to your knees and be thankful he's gone, girl. Yeah, he's openly cheating now. I guess we hadn't gotten to that part of the story yet whenever those comments came through. But Heather, thank you so much for the stars. I appreciate that. Brandy says, bye-bye, BF. This is a boy. I mean, this is nothing more than a boy. I think that's all we can say is that, you know, he was still in this phase of his life where he just wanted to party and recklessly party and have fun. And obviously whenever OP had to step up and grow up and start taking care of her mother, that's when he was like, oh, fine, you can't be my party wingman anymore. I'll just party with other people and then end up making bad decisions and staying in a hotel room with another woman. But that's OP's fault, according to him. Yeah, fiance is definitely an ascon one here. Here, we can make that official. Hey, Jill, subscribed for the first time, became a member of the Storm. Thank you so much. Heather, thank you for the hat and mustache. I appreciate that. Ascon 1, bro. That's where fiance is. OP, you're not an asshole at all for this. There are some options available that will make life a little bit easier for you, not time-wise, but you can be compensated for the care that you're providing to your mom. I don't think there's any kind of nepotism restrictions on that. I think it's fair game. Change the lock so he doesn't come back. Yeah. Yep. Jill, thank you again for subscribing. Lisa says, why would she think there would be anything left? He left, thank God. I don't know where this ultimatum part of the story is, because right now he's staying in a hotel room with another woman. What choice is there to be made? And if she's thinking about still like trying to get him back. Why? Why? He obviously doesn't have any respect for you. This is not going to end if you stop doing what you're doing to try to take him back. It's just not going to happen. Man child. Thank you for the roses, Haley. Appreciate that. Hit the road, Jack. They have been on and off, and you can see why. Sarah Waffles, that makes sense. But she's at this pivotal point in her life where she has to grow up. And I think there are a lot of couples where something will happen and one of them has to grow up and the other one has that choice at that moment to grow up with them or to continue down their path. So it just diverges. A lot of young couples, particularly when they enter these phases where they have to start growing up, it doesn't always happen at the same time. And a lot of problems happen because of that. But they're 35 and 33. So his party hardy phase apparently just lasted a long time. He was a late bloomer. He started his party phase when he was 30, maybe. Maybe the butcher dudes or the butcher shop guys are just hardcore partiers. What does he bring to the relationship? Sometimes he brings meat scraps home. That might be about it. He is too old for that. He did make his choice. You're right. OP sounds kind-hearted and clearly cares for the people who brought them up. OP is a hero. Yeah, I would agree here. OP, you're not doing anything wrong. You're being taken advantage of. Stop being taken advantage of. I don't know how you guys ever got engaged, but this guy needs to be not a part of your life ever again. Legitimately. Please, never again. And sniff out the state-run programs that would allow you to be compensated for being the in-home care giver to your mom. 2 solutions. Dodged a bullet, take the win. Agreed, Deep South Design. I agree. This is also at 33, learn to acknowledge how much respect you deserve. You don't deserve to be run over in a relationship, and you don't have to be. You have a choice. And if the choice is being alone because it's scary or continuing to take abuse, just know right now, if you choose alone, you're really busy. And time, like the idle hands thing, is probably one of the hardest parts about being alone. You're going to be so busy with school and caring for your mother that you're not going to feel the loneliness that you're probably afraid of. Yep. He hasn't bloomed, never will. I could agree with that, Nan. Wendy, so the government assistance that I'm talking about is actually run by centers. They call them TILCs here, independent living centers, but they are designed to help people with a disability stay in their home as long as possible. So there are some stipulations. Obviously, it has to be a significant disability, but those centers specifically help people get the resources, like connect them with the resources to be able to make that happen. So there are a lot more solutions out there than we realize. You know, those of us who don't have a family member who needs this, it's one of those things that you don't really find out about until you need it. We've worked with a few organizations in our marketing firm that do this kind of service and learned a lot about it during that process. And it's really surprising. Okay. Before we dive into the next one here, something that we have a special request for all of you is whenever you see and like our normal TikTok posts, if you don't mind, share those, please. Something that we've seen is, when we see videos do really well, it's because they were shared a lot. Excuse me. When we see videos not do well, it's because they weren't shared. So if you can, just keep it in the back of your mind whenever you see a video and you're like, oh, hell, that's funny, or this is crazy. Just be sure that you share it for us, please. And however you share on TikTok or, commenting or stitching or doing a duet or whatever it is, that helps a lot. So engaging, commenting, and liking, we love that. Love you being here for the live. Just don't forget to share or repost or duet or stitch. You can do a duet. Come on, that'd be fun. And I have actually started recording some stitches too. That's a new form of content that we're taking on here. So as you tag us in stories out there that you see on TikTok, we're taking a look at those and we're bookmarking ones that we think will be good to stitch. And I've begun to record those, making sure that Candy Thunder gets to review them before I just throw them out there, because I'll get us canceled real quick. Angel, thank you for the mini speaker. Appreciate that. Finja, thank you for the crown. And Angel, thank you for the lovey heart. Appreciate that. Finja with a dancing cactus. John Schmutz says, let's duet, Zaddy. It won't be that kind of duet, Josh. Sorry. Sarah and Waffles tagged us in a crazy one the other day. It may have been one of the ones that I recorded a draft of last night. So just be on the lookout for those. It's going to be more. That's what 23 is all about for us. It's more. Just new types of content. There are a couple of other ideas for new things that I want to talk to you about later, but before then, we'll just dive straight in to another story here. Candy Thunder, is she still around? Niecy's giving her the call out with the lightning bolts here. I haven't seen Candy Thunder's name pop up for a minute. Gotcha. Okay. Yep. More. Hunter Girl sending the ASMR time. Yeah. I mean, if you want, I can just spend the whole stream here, like brushing my beard against the microphone. That would be awkward for everyone. Okay, we won't do that. All right, this is one from Reddit. Not a follower submission, not a Dusty Thunder subreddit. This is straight from the AITA factory. Am I the butt nugget for calling out my sister for not making her wedding accessibility friendly for family? Well, this will be a timely topic. For context, I, 34 female, am a single mom to my daughter, Mia, 8 female. Mia has been disabled since the day she was born and needs wheelchair assistance and constant care whenever she is awake. I absolutely love her to death, and it's only us. It's only been us during this entire journey, so I'm definitely super protective of my little girl. I also have a sister, Cassidy, 28 female, who just called me about the logistics and plan for her wedding in 6 months to her fiancé, Max, 27 female. She said the wedding was going to be at a beach near our city, and it will completely be held in the sand. Basically a 35-person ceremony right by the water, followed by a bonfire and barbecue also in the sand. She said she just wanted to let me know before she sent the official invite because of Mia. I truly have never been more shocked and disappointed in my sister. You would think she would at least check in with me before she reserved the beach space because Mia obviously can't come. And now she's only telling me because it's set in stone and there's nothing she can change. I tried explaining how hurtful this is to Mia because Mia loves her auntie, but she'll be absolutely heartbroken not being able to attend the wedding. It's already so difficult raising a child with disabilities without a partner. But when even family is this inconsiderate and cruel, it's truly the worst feeling. Cassidy immediately started deflecting, saying her and Max checked to make sure the beach had a sand-friendly wheelchair for me to rent, $110 a day. The audacity to ask your guests to be paying just to make it to the event, especially when she knows I cannot afford this. Then she said how she will not change the location because her and Max met on this very beach and it has been their dream ever since to get married here, after they also got engaged here. When I suggested she pay for the rental, she kept saying how her and Max already had to cut so much out of their budget and plans because they also can't afford much. Like, you're already paying for a whole wedding but can't afford a rental for your family to come? I was talking to some moms of children with disabilities, and they all agree that it sounds like Cassidy doesn't even want Mia there and is using all of this as an excuse. I'm thinking about just telling her that we won't be attending her wedding and supporting a person who's inconsiderate to her own family. So, am I the astronaut? Oh, Candy Thunder has arrived. Okay. Thoughts on this story? Christina says the sister should pay the $110 plus for the rental period. Okay, Sarah and Waffles, I'm glad to hear you say this. She says, I'm disabled, but I would never be mad about where someone wants to get married. It's their wedding. As I read through this, when you're going through the wedding planning process, there are already a million variables that you're wrestling with. It's a logistics nightmare. It's stressful. And how they probably thought they addressed this was, okay, is there a way for our disabled niece to be able to get down there? And whoever they were talking to was like, oh yeah, we have a beach friendly wheelchair. And they're like, perfect deal. Okay. That was the end of it. That's what it feels like. Now, they could have gone out of their way to had a conversation first and been like, hey, we want you to come down here and try this out first and make sure that it will be okay. They could have spent more time on that, but I don't expect them to because they have so much going on. And finding out that there was a beach-friendly wheelchair down there that was rentable was probably enough for them to check their box. I do feel like they should have paid for that rental and provided that to them personally. I feel like that would have solved all of the problems. Wouldn't it have? I mean, maybe OP would still have a problem here because of where it was and because it's generally not disability friendly. It's not wheelchair friendly. I mean, pushing a wheelchair through sand sounds like not fun. But like Jill is saying here, member of the storm, it's toughy, but a wedding is about the couple and not everyone else. Valid to be upset, though. I do feel like the beach-friendly or sand-friendly wheelchair should have been provided. But, you know, if they're out of money, they're out of money. They just can't do it. At that point, man, I don't know. Snow Lion says, I'm disabled. Being in a beach chair for that length of time would cause pressure sores. Gotcha. Okay, so a beach chair, it's not as comfortable as a normal chair. Sarah and Waffle says she's only a kid. Can we get some uncles and a carrier of some sort? So Rugrat, this is something that I was thinking of during reading this too, says that many beaches have wheelchair mats that go down to the beach for the wheelchair to roll on. That was my first thought. But once they said a sand-friendly wheelchair, I thought, oh, that must be the easier way. It is a very difficult situation. Haley says, couldn't grandparents step in, though, to make sure their grandchild can be there? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would hope. I forget all the players that are involved here. So OP, who's 34, her daughter's 8, mentions the sister Cassidy, who's 28, and her fiance Max, 27. And those are all the only specific people that are mentioned in this. So if there are other family members involved, they could probably help make this happen. There's got to be, I mean, there are options. So there are options to make it more accessible for her. Just saying them making sure that there were options, I think they thought was checking the box. OP expected them to do more, and I feel like they should have done more to make sure that it didn't cause any harm on OP and her daughter, i.e. having to pay the $110 to rent the wheelchair just to get down to the wedding. That should be provided. The lack of communication between the parties involved is the issue, Lindsay says. Yeah, this could have been communicated better. And again, I get it from the bride-to-be standpoint because planning that is a nightmare. And she probably felt like she checked the box. Should have done more, but I understand why in that flurry of logistics it wasn't covered. But there are solution paths available here. Hopefully someone just steps up to make it a little bit easier for OP's daughter. Think the mom's being a bit over the top? Yeah, I don't think it was malicious either. I don't think it was malicious. She thought she had solutions there, and then, you know, they could probably dig a little deeper and find $110 to pay for the chair to make sure it caused no additional pain to OP and OP's daughter. Surely someone can step up there to make that happen. Each pay half for the beach wheelchair. That would be fair. Reception is on the beach too. Yeah. Okay. So, and I assume that, so the ceremony and reception, that's probably when being in the beach chair would be not ideal. But it's their wedding. She just didn't like the solution. Yeah, you're right. You are correct. So, does anyone belong on the ascon scale here? Anybody? Here, I'll bring it up just so we have a reminder. We have ascon 1, which is there's no way you should have done that. You're a terrible human being. I don't feel like anybody in the story fits in there. ascon 2 is you definitely shouldn't have done that, but it doesn't make you a terrible person. I don't feel like anybody here's there either. ascon 3, you probably should have approached that differently. No. ascon 4, you probably could have approached that differently. Maybe you're an asshole, maybe you're not. Everybody's a 4. Yeah, both parties are a 4 here because it can be approached differently, and there are solutions that exist. OP's sister should have gone a little further. I understand where she's at, and I don't feel like OP should be offended by this. Yes, it would be great if it didn't cause any pain. Rach asking for the recap. So the story was OP has a disabled daughter who's 8 and has a sister who's 28 who's getting married on a beach, and the sister made sure that there was a sand-friendly wheelchair available to rent, but it's $110 a day. So, and OP's issue here is that she scheduled her wedding in a place that wasn't conducive to her daughter coming, and the daughter and the sister apparently have a good relationship. So she's offended. It feels like she did it without considering her daughter. And she's partially right. Not enough to be offended by, I don't think. She made partial accommodations by just finding out that there was a way there was a way to make it happen. Hey, it's good to see everybody here. How is everybody today? It is Wednesday, isn't it? It's Wednesday. It's live day. The weather's getting nice now. Okay, so aren't weddings usually one day? But I agree the sister should have given more accommodations. Yeah, this is like an everyone sucks here, ascon 4 across the board kind of thing. Yeah, we've gone from like 17 degrees to 67 degrees in a matter of a couple days, and it's wild, but I'll take it. Okay, before we jump into the next story here, I have an idea, and I need your help with it. One of the things that I'm interested in trying out when we're talking about different kinds of content is actually using AI to generate stories, like short stories, to use as new content to record. And this would probably start as exclusive content for VIPs. We'd have it on like a lockdown playlist on YouTube or something like that to test it out. So there are AI story writers out there that you start with a prompt and it basically just spits it out for you. And we're going to try it out. We're going to see if we can make this work, but I need you to help me come up with some story prompts. Give me an idea. Here, we'll just take the next couple of minutes. Give me an idea for what you would think would be a really cool story. We needs to hear a story. It's windy there, nearly 11 p.m. in Scotland, and it's chilly. Oh, I bet it's beautiful, though. Snowstorms, blizzard-like conditions, blizzard warnings. Oh, what is it here right now? 'Tis 66 degrees. Rach, Virginia experiences every single season in 1 week. That's Missouri as well. We are in Missouri. A prompt submission form, we can definitely do that. I want you to be thinking about it. Here, Landry. I'm going to copy this one. A wizard that goes on an adventure to find his long-lost lizard. Getting into some alliteration here as well. A wizard who lost his lizard. Amber, 70s in Knoxville, Tennessee. Nice. My sister's down there. Good old English rain today in London. Or a mother-in-law that's literally from hell. Oh, that would work. as you come up with other stuff, go ahead and shoot it to me, and we'll create a prompt submission form as well. Selena, let us know. Go ahead and comment with the title of your story, and we'll check it out on our end. One of the reasons that we are doing or pulling down the recordings of the lives, like the live from last week, and we are now starting to upload those to YouTube, is because a lot of followers submitted stories will get read on a live, but won't have a video like a normal TikTok post video. So us putting that up on YouTube will be another way for people to see it, and you to be able to engage with it, and so on and so forth. 79 in Georgia. Landry, that sounds awesome. Lindsay, thank you so much for the rose. I appreciate that. Kelsey, 68 in Southern Indiana. Man, those fronts coming through and bringing cool and warm weather along, it's causing some instability in the sky there. Nurse P, if you, do the same. Just go ahead and let us know what the title was, and we'll look it up. It may have been read on a live, and we may go back to the beginning of lives and put those all up on YouTube. We'll see. Going back to the previous topic, the story prompts and using an AI story writer, we're going to try it out. So if you have some good short story ideas, throw us the idea. We'll use that as a starting point and see what happens with it. And we'll create some kind of form or some kind of special place to put your ideas there. AIAGD, Am I a Great Dad? Bandit Edition. There you go. It's a Bluey. I think I started talking about this in the beginning of the stream, then it started freezing up, and then we restarted the stream. But one of the crazy things right now about Bluey in our house is that if we turn Bluey on, Navy Thunder, who is coming up on 2 years old, will now just turn around and go, no. And you're like, okay, what do you want to watch? Or she's went through a Despicable Me, like Minions phase, and now is in a Disney Frozen phase. She absolutely loves Olaf, and her face just lights up. And whenever they have the scenes with the small Anna, and Elsa, she lights up at that too. So Bluey's been neglected in our house lately because she's just into something different right now. Story, my voices split from my body and create their own bodies. Whoa, Finja, that one's. Writing it down. I'm not going to let Navy Thunder grow out of Bluey. Because I'll turn it on just for me. But yeah, there's been a lot of Frozen going on in our house lately. And she just got a little Olaf doll and smiled. She had the giant shit-eating grin, like it was just the best day of her life. And then she grabbed it and she goes, mwah, and kissed him. Rugrats phase? Oh, man. Stephanie, you are so lucky. We need to introduce Navy Thunder. Is Candy Thunder still here? Yeah, there she goes. Yep, she saw it too. She said, oh, that's a great idea. I cannot remember the theme song for Rugrats. I can kind of hear it in my head. Should I or shouldn't I? That is the question. Is that your story prompt? I'm writing it down like it is. Okay, I will go ahead and jump into the next story here. But short story ideas, be thinking of stuff. If you think it's cool, we'll have a place to put it soon. Or you can just message it to us or send it through on the website. For now, it's still going to be the reddit-setit.com. All of our channel links are the same. Eventually, we will transition names and our domain to dusty-thunder.com. So be watching out for that here soon as well. Big things are happening. Big things. In the world of Dusty, it's big things. Okay, this is another follower submission, and this one is, am I the thunderhole for thinking my partner should stop complaining about the mess in our house or help clean it? Kara, thank you for resubbing. Appreciate that. I, 32 female, have been with my fiancé, 52 male, for 10 and a half years, and we have 2 children, 3 years and a 9-month-old, both boys. I've just gone back to work from my maternity leave and am working from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. from Monday to Friday. And then when I finish, I look after the children and take care of the house. In order to be at work at 7 a.m., I have to be up at 5:30 a.m. to get myself ready and get the 2 kids ready for daycare. My fiance does work long days and 2 jobs. He works from 8:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. in an IT company, and then from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m., massaging people. On a Wednesday and Thursday night, he goes out to play pool and isn't home until 11 p.m. Wednesday and Thursday night. Oh, wow. Okay. Every night when my partner walks into the house, he looks around and complains, saying I've not done any cleaning, even when I've spent hours on my feet sorting out things like cooking, dinner, cleaning, and looking after the children. I get the children to bed every night, so by the time my fiance comes home, it's time for me to start doing a big clean, sorting the laundry. I often don't stop until I get to bed at 10:30 p.m. to go to sleep. My fiance comes home and just gets into bed and watches TV and eats dinner. He criticizes the effort I make in the house, but doesn't do it himself. The weekends are the only time he will help, which the majority of the time he's shouting and swearing, saying I'm lazy and I should have done this in the week after I finish work. He doesn't take into consideration the childcare aspect of my day. My fiance thinks I'm an asshole when I tell him he either needs to stop complaining about the mess or start helping to tidy the mess when he comes home from work. Am I the asshole? I should have done this earlier. We'll go ahead and turn that on now. Clean it or shut it, Darla. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Hunter Girl, thank you so much for the hat and mustache. Appreciate that. Was he 50? No way. Wait a second. He's 52. I don't see him changing. However, here's something that I think would be an option. In order to understand the impact of your efforts, let him see what it looks like when you don't do anything. If he truly thinks that you don't do anything, show him what it looks like when you don't, so that he understands this is with constant effort on it, and this is without. And hell, I mean, I don't advocate for using children as pawns to make a point between parents, but as long as, you're not taking them anywhere, and if it's just an at-home thing, I'm not saying get them involved, but if it would be you have them all like ready for bed and lunch is packed and that kind of thing, like don't do that and let him do it. Let him jump in and do everything that you've done, or write a list, keep some kind of documentation to be like, here's everything that I did in this amount of time. You live in the world like I do, where everything is task driven, and I run a timer on all of my tasks to see how much time I put into it. So if you want to get that granular, track what you do, and then you've got some kind of proof. And then it can be and now I would like to see what you did. I'd like to see the fruits of your labors here. I think a lot of guys have this mentality of, if they're the breadwinner, then, and he's not even the sole breadwinner here, he's just the main breadwinner. He doesn't have to do anything else, but I have never seen that be the case unless you're just doing so well that you have like a house staff and you have nannies and that kind of stuff. Landry says his age may be the reason behind his beliefs. Maybe he thinks the woman should be the one to clean. All right, that is clearly an element here. Candy Thunder says, I took the no clean approach today for no reason. Just wasn't feeling it, and Dusty supported me. Damn straight I did. Because I think when I don't understand what it's like to stay home every day, but I know what it's like to stay home with kids or with Navy Thunder for shorter periods. And I understand how hard it is. It is work. Like staying home with kids is work. And there's got to be a way to either communicate that to him so he understands, but I don't know that this guy's going to change. And yeah, you don't have to clean your house all day, every day, especially when you have young kids, because guess what? It's going to take 2 minutes to get destroyed again. So sometimes you have to look at that mess and say that mess is still going to be there later whenever I do have the energy for it. Well, I think there are a lot of guys out there like me who get it. We only hear the stories about the bad ones because it's, subject matter. But There are some solution paths here. I don't know how effective they're going to be with him. It's if he's swearing at her, saying that she's just worthless and not doing anything and not willing to do anything himself, even when she's saying, shut up or jump in. What more can you do? Past a certain age, I believe that it's a 1 in 100 chance to change, Landry says. Yeah, Joanne says cleaning is a team effort. I agree with that. He sounds abusive, Sarah and Waffles. Yeah, yeah, it does. I mean, she lightly touched on him, shouting and swearing, saying that she's lazy and should have done it in the week after she finished work. Depending on the severity of that, there could be a lot of bad shit going on here, but they do have kids too, right? They have, 2 children, 2 kids. She's working 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's tough. I mean, it's very easy to see who the asshole is here. It's definitely the fiancé. They've been together for 10 and a half years too. Well, stay engaged forever if you want, but don't get married. Don't get married. I mean, it's either break it off or just don't advance any further in there. Yeah, it doesn't say how long. No, it doesn't say how long they've been engaged. It only tells us how long they've been together. This is probably another one of those situations where she knows it's wrong. She's writing this story. She knows it shouldn't be the way that it is here, but is too afraid to leave because she'd be completely on her own and relies on him for at least the income side of things. But, I mean, number one, there I am with my numbers again. Anyway, kids could be much happier. Kids will be much happier in 2 separate homes where those parents can be happy in those individual environments rather than one unhappy home where they're having to watch dad shout and swear at mom saying that she's lazy because she didn't pick up the house to his level of standards, which are completely just projected and imposed on her alone because he's not going to do a damn thing to help out. Now he's going to go play pool 2 nights a week. And then when he does come home, watch TV and eat. Sounds like a real big piece of shit to me. Why? Why stick this out? Unless he's willing to change. And I do think that you have to at least give people the option to change. You have to give them that opportunity to change. And she could do that. She could say, here's where I'm at. And here's why it's total bullshit. And here are the options. It's either you completely change your worldview in a very short amount of time to start giving me the respect that I deserve, or we're done. Self-respect. Don't put up with that kind of shit. And it honestly, why does he not clean before he goes to work or get the kids ready? Ask him to switch her 3 jobs to his 2 jobs. That's a good point. There you go, Fish. He works 2, but yeah, she's working 3. Kids are hard work, man, and I don't know. I think it would be a really good idea for every dad, particularly in the beginning of right after a child is born, to spend some time at home and really understand what it's like to care for the child and to be responsible for the housework and to feel like it is a full-time job. It is absolutely a full-time job. When nobody's in your house, it doesn't get trashed, but with kids home, it's just as busy as it is during the evenings, maybe even more so because they have more room to run around tearing things apart. Brandy says, spent 26 years with a man like that. I stopped doing it all and said, you do it. And it opened his eyes. There you go. I think stopping, like showing him what it would look like if you didn't do anything, is a really good idea. prove the worth of what you're doing, or prove the value of what you're doing by not doing it for a little bit, just to show them what it looks like. OP, not the asshole at all. Where does this 52-year-old misogynist fiance belong on the ascon scale? What say you? This is probably a pretty easy one. Yeah, my gut said 1. I don't think there's anything about him that grants him permission to step down to a 2. He's a big old 1. And I'm sure this has to do with, like someone said earlier, the age has more to do with what was socially acceptable when he was growing up. So now he has this beliefs that haven't evolved, and that's the problem, because they're not going to. If he was capable of change, he probably would have changed already. But like we've said so many times, pain creates change. And I think she has the opportunity to create some pain for him by not doing the chores, and by having the conversation and giving him the choice of continuing to be an ass bag, but to be a single ass bag, or to change his worldview and actually provide a solution for his family. Giving him that opportunity would be good. Probably won't work, but at least she can say that she gave him the chance. Not a doubt about that. He is a 1. Okay. Before we dive into this next story, what other kinds of content would you like to see? Do you really only like the Am I the Asshole stories? Would you like to see us do some shorter, funny videos, or like skits of stories, or what kind of crazy stuff would you like to see? Morgan, we actually just read that story. The AITA, the sister who's not having an accessible wedding for a niece in wheelchair. Yeah, we actually just covered that story a little bit ago. But luckily, we're now going to start pulling down these recordings of the live streams and putting them up on YouTube. So there will be a way to jump into it afterwards. Finja, thank you so much. Commentary on other TikTok videos? Yeah, we're starting to do that. I only have some drafts saved right now because it's new for me, so it's scary. But and I don't get the opportunity to edit like I do with my normal videos. So I just have to think harder and do better, and that's tough for me because words are hard. So I have 3 or 4 of them in draft mode right now for review. Love the AITA, makes me see that my life isn't so bad. AITA acted out, Landry. We've talked about that. And I think we actually have a good connection with an improv group that could serve as a cast that would help us do that. Reeve Gunslinger, I'd like to see you do some other Reddit stories like revenge stories and react to if it's deserved. Yeah, I could definitely do that. Dusty reacts to Karens. Heck yeah, I could do that too. A lot of reaction stuff is entirely possible. That's just something that I've got to get into and start dedicating some time to, because words are hard. Some crazy Reddit stories. You're a wonderful narrator, so anything you come up with, cool. Thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate that. Are we taking stories from the subreddit, Nisi? Yes. Some of those were batched in. One of them from this live stream came from there. There's another one in a batch that I recorded the other night, or 2 that came from there as well. So we're pulling more and more and more through those. And we have talked about looping that subreddit in as the first stop for follower submissions as well. We have not made that official yet, but it's the direction we think we're going. Believe it or not, that would be cool. Pets making messes in your house and getting caught. We actually have a really good idea for the toddler version of that, Joanne. Kara as a writer can 100% confirm that words are indeed hard. Okay, Jennifer. Not necessarily just AITA, but just people's lives and can you believe this shit kind of stories. Godders, thank you. I appreciate that. I think the people just wanting to hear longer stories is a big pro of the YouTube side, because there are playlists and compilations on there that will just allow you to listen. But also when we do get into doing longer story-driven content, not necessarily AITA or even Reddit stuff, it will definitely live there. So there will be long videos that you can just put on and fall asleep to. You know what I mean? I'll help you count sheep. I'll just count the sheep for you. All right, we have another follower submission to dive into here. It is that. Hey man, it's my bird. He's my bird. This one is a follower submission, and it is, am I the thunderhole for winning a beauty pageant I was convinced to participate in? This story takes place years ago, soon after I got married to my husband. My husband was in college and made a friend who was also married, so he decided to be friends with the wife, Cheyenne, so the guys could go hang out. We didn't have a ton in common, but we got along okay. After about 6 months of knowing each other, we started working together as well. One day at work, Cheyenne comes up to me and tells me I should join a beauty pageant she was going to be in that year. That seems like a dangerous scenario. Like if that also seems like a catty play by women. Seems like something that a woman would do to be catty to another woman, because women are terrible to each other. Like, it's the level of maniacal strategy that goes into how a lot of women treat each other it's shocking. It's shocking to me. I mean, dudes are assholes too, but women are, it's the strategy and the effort involved is mind blowing. I politely declined and said it wasn't my thing. My definition of dressing up nice is blow drying my hair and putting on eyeliner and mascara. I don't even know how to curl my hair. She kept bringing it up and told me she would help me find people to do my hair and makeup, and told me it would be so fun to have a friend do it with her, so I finally agreed. I did some prep work to get ready for the pageant, paying fees, finding a ball gown, and even watched a few videos to get an idea of what I'd gotten myself into, but ultimately went into pageant weekend with the intent to have fun and make good memories. I had zero expectations. When the weekend arrived, I discovered that not only was our state competing, but the director was also in charge of another state. I also discovered that of the 45-ish ladies competing, only 6 were from my state. I tried my best to have fun anyway, and actually did enjoy myself and met a lot of amazing women who were very accomplished. Some even started their own charities or businesses. There was also an inspirational speaker who came in at one point as well, so I really did have a good time. The way this pageant system works is that everyone competes in the semifinals, but 2 days later at the finals, only the ladies who made it into the top group of contestants compete. Somehow I got into the top 3 for my state, so I was actually on stage that night. Then I made it into the top 2. It was my friend and I competing for queen and runner-up. There it is. They announced her name as the first runner-up, and I was utterly shocked. I had no idea what had just happened, or what I was expecting to do as the queen. What I was expected to do as the queen. Unbeknownst to me, a picture of my crowning moment was put into the paper. So working at a big company, a lot of my coworkers saw it and asked about it and even congratulated me. I even had a few customers come in and say, "Hey, weren't you in that paper recently?" "Oh, right, you're Mrs. My State." I'd get embarrassed, but answer that yes, I was. After a few weeks of this, I heard through the grapevine that Cheyenne was complaining to my other coworkers that I was showing off in front of her because I won and she didn't. Didn't see this one coming. Huh. The pageant director later told me as well that she had even complained to her that it wasn't fair because I taught her everything she knows. She had been really distant with me up to this point, so I figured I'd just give her space and see if our friendship would make it through. It didn't. After my husband graduated and we moved away, she unfriended me on all forms of social media. Years later, I still mention this story because I am still competing in pageants, and people frequently ask how I got into it. At first, I never really felt bad about the situation, but a lot of people have told me they feel bad for Cheyenne because had I not joined, she would have won. So, am I the asshole? What? What? How could someone think that you were an asshole for this? What seems to me like happened, hello sirens, is that Cheyenne probably made this invitation as a backhanded compliment, because that's something that women like to be catty and do to each other. Or the plan was, yeah, I really wanted to do it because I feel confident enough to know that I could beat her. Why, Cheyenne should not have extended the invitation if she didn't want competition. So she either did it because it was an insecurity and she felt like she needed a friend there, which they weren't even that close to begin with. So I don't know. That's tough. But I don't think OP is the asshole at all. She did do it to herself, Landry. You were right. Emily, yes, seems like she invited her thinking she was better and prettier, and she's mad that she got proven wrong. Yes, thank you. You're better with words than I am, so thank you. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. She wanted to prove it to herself. She didn't think of her as competition. No, OP is not the asshole for this. Where would you put Cheyenne on the ascon scale? Where would you put her? She invited her either thinking that she could beat her. Well, she didn't view her as competition. She wasn't threatened by her at all. And then, I think there are two crimes here, not official crimes, but crimes. I think there were two things that Cheyenne did that deserve ascon judgment or consideration for. The invitation in the first place was malicious. It was not a pure friend kind of thing. It was either I want to squash you in this and feel better about myself, or it's a backhanded compliment saying that she was pretty enough to compete. So I think that's one, because I do think that it was malicious. And then two, after losing, talking shit. That's just pathetic. At 2 to 3. Hunter Girl thinks that she would be at 1. Yeah, what would Cheyenne have done if she had won? Would she be rubbing it in OP's face? Jennifer agreed. Sportsmanship is poor here. Very poor. Landry's upgraded to a 2. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like a terrible person evil thing. It's shitty. It's definitely shitty. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, though. It's, Candy Thunder has educated me so much about things that I wouldn't see otherwise. And it's really interesting how women treat attractive women and how attractive women treat attractive women. It's so just mind-boggling to me. Heather, thank you for the sunglasses. I appreciate it. Sun's out here, so it makes sense. 2. I think we're on 2 here. I'm glad that I'm a dude for a number of reasons, but seeing the catty ecosystem that exists between women is definitely one of those. That's just it's a lot of effort and energy going into making other people feel shitty. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Petty Betty needs a better hobby. Yeah, and Sarah and Waffles, I would agree with that. When the world tells us that our looks are our value, of course that happens. But I think even if you remove that from the scenario, well, okay, I see what you're saying here. So if the default, like how an attractive woman treats an attractive woman, and like the threatened behaviors that come out of that, it's interesting. So yeah, I guess by default, there's a lot of assumptions made on looks by women to each other. That's the part that's surprising to me. Very surprising. Sad part is even kids' pageants are catty sometimes. Oh, I don't doubt it. And I know there's a lot of reality shows on there. I think one of our tweens is actually watching one of those right now. I'm not about that life or that drama. No, thank you. All right, we're going to dive right into another follower submission here. This one is, am I the thunderhole for asking my sister-in-law and niece to pay rent? We have a secondary home that my in-laws rent from us. It's half an acre in a country subdivision. A big mistake from the beginning. We had agreed upon a monthly payment. However, when the post-dated checks were given to us, they were less than what was agreed upon, as my father-in-law thought the amount on the checks is what they should be paying. It wasn't a ton, maybe... It wasn't a ton less, maybe $100, but still. They always wanted a deal. Keep in mind that we renovated the house and built a heated shop for my father-in-law too. I really had no say in the renovations and no say in the ones happening now. My husband just wanted his parents to be happy, so he did whatever they asked, like he still does. Fast forward to September of 2022, and his parents have moved their middle daughter and granddaughter into the house without asking us. They didn't offer to pay any rent either. I had a conversation with my sister-in-law and niece in December informing them rent would be expected starting January 1st. I thought we were being kind, allowing 3 months free and getting them through Christmas. My sister-in-law and niece agreed, saying, well, I guess we can't expect to live free forever. Well, here we are in mid-February and they're not paying rent. My mother-in-law said the girls wouldn't be paying a dime until a second bathroom was added and a fourth bedroom. Wow. Okay. It's currently a 3-bedroom home, and my sister-in-law has the entire basement to herself. We were willing to add another bedroom and bathroom, but just don't have the funds at the moment. So my husband goes there most days until after his... So my husband goes there most days after his full-time job to renovate to their requests. He's tired and sore, but doesn't want to disappoint his parents. Meanwhile, we hardly get any time with him, and it has caused a divide between him and I. His parents and sisters have interfered so much with our marriage over the years that my husband and I now started counseling this week. They have no care in the world how their actions have impacted me. My mother-in-law is very opinionated, as is his oldest sister. Don't even get me started about the oldest sister who thumbs through our mail, helped herself to my underwear and deodorant, etc. without asking. His family just doesn't understand boundaries. That sounds like an important line. My husband recently told me he's siding with his family. I'm devastated. We have been paying out of pocket for his parents to live in our rental 5 of the 7 years. My husband chooses not to see the reality. He told me I'm the love of his life and always will be, but our marriage hinges on what the therapist might say. I can't even believe I'm writing this. We are high school sweethearts together 32 years now, married for 23 years, and 2 young adult children. I cry every day, mostly when by myself. I think his family is very selfish. By the way, we initially asked his sister and our niece for $500 per month each. $500 per month each. You can't rent anywhere around here for that a month. That would really help offset what we're paying out of pocket towards the mortgage. The secondary home was bought as an investment for our retirement or to help the kids out in the future. I'm so broken and sad. Please. Am I the asshole? Wow. Yeah. Keywords here: audacity, entitlement. He can live with them too, Joanne says. How do they expect to make a whole new bathroom if they pay for 2 houses? Landry, you're right. Yeah, and as I was reading this, you know, the thought there was, you can't have any expectation of us making any kinds of additions or renovations if you're not paying anything. And if they do want to start paying, that's when renovations can start being planned, because then you've got a revenue stream that can fund those renovations. I don't think it's do the renovations and then pay for them. And if that was the case, then the amount that they were going to pay would go probably way up, and they'd have to sign an actual legal binding contract for an extended period of time. It would be, he's being fully taken advantage of, but it sounds like his family has him by the balls. So he's just going to let them ruin his marriage, basically. And he will regret it, but not until they've completely bled him dry. That's my crystal ball, and I'm sticking to it. What am I missing here? What other possibilities exist? Eviction, Landry says. Jennifer says, I am shocked at how many men have never cut the apron string with their mom. What is the saying? A daughter is a daughter for life. A son is a son until he finds a wife. But it's not so much the case in a lot of these. Because, yeah, it's I understand wanting to make sure that your family is provided for. I understand feeling beholden to your parents and making sure that you're making accommodations for them. But whenever they start taking advantage of the good things that you've done for them by piling other people onto that boat, I think that's when you have to create a boundary and look at the path, man. I mean, OP, this is a follower submission, right? Yes. OP, if you happen to be here, I think you have to alert your husband to where this path leads. If it keeps going this direction, what is going to happen? And it's leading to them bleeding him dry. Whether he's with you or not, he's going to be bled dry if this doesn't change. So make sure he knows where this is headed and sees whatever alternative paths exist here. But he's going to have to create a boundary one way or another. It's going to be, is he going to have anything left when he creates the boundary? That's the only question here. He can do it now and save himself and potentially save his marriage, or he can wait until it destroys everything that he has, literally. They want the money and the cake. Have fun. Bluey is one of the best TV shows. Agreed. Hope they have a signed lease from the start of the parents' tenancy. If they do, small claims. Lindsay, I'm guessing that they don't. I'm guessing that was another area where the son was like, look, you're my parents. I'm not going to make you sign nothing, okay? You know, we'll make it work. You don't worry about it. We'll make it work. And that's probably his response every time here, too. Don't worry about it. We'll make it work. Serena, she said she doesn't understand why any parent would act like that. You're supposed to help your kids, not hinder them. Yeah, I agree with that. I think when you have kids who break the cycle of poverty or addiction or whatever cycle it is, I think the remainder of that family who's still in a cycle is really effective about trying to pull that person back into it. And this is one of the ways that they do it. So if you've got family members that see the opportunity for them to be supported by their son, then of course they're going to take advantage of it and then start inviting all their other people who are also dependent to be dependent on this one person who is giving the handouts. So I'm sure he grew up, broke the cycle, did well for himself, but now he's going to have his entire family on his back. Even if they did have legal paperwork, the son wouldn't go through court. You're probably right. Unless she convinces him to see where this path leads. He decides to create a boundary right now. He has a conversation with his parents and his sister and lays that boundary down. And if they refuse or if they tell him to go F himself or whatever, if he feels strongly enough about where this path leads and protecting his marriage or saving his marriage, he could be motivated to take this to court, but a lot of things would have to change. Given the current situation, if nothing changed about this right now, yeah, you're right. He would never go. Never. There's like a 1.01% chance of him doing that, which is sad. Yeah, that's probably spot on there, Nurse Kate. It's probably spot on. Okay, I have one more story here. What más? I'll recap on a couple of the news items that I have for you for updates, and then we'll read our last one here. Okay, new news. I can't steal that from the Kels brothers. So the Candy Thunder podcast part 2 comes out on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Part 1 was released this past Sunday, and is available on YouTube or all the podcast audio channels. A teaser for part 2 was posted today as a normal TikTok post. So make sure you check that out, because like the last 60% of it is all bloopers, and it's me screwing up. It's not her. She doesn't screw up. I screw up a lot, and it's her laughing at me when I screw up. So that's all the bloopers that are on the tail end of that post. And if you have watched or listened to part 2, hope you really enjoyed it. Leave us feedback, leave us comments, and be sure to share it if you really enjoyed it. And we are busting those up into individual posts for TikTok as well. So you'll see condensed versions of those stories that we covered on TikTok, but you'll get the full feedback for the story on the YouTube versions. And also, if you didn't see it earlier, we are working on a new brand for Dusty Thunder. This is the new Dusty Thunder brand that it's not final, but it's pretty final. And we'll be using this for rebrands on everything that we have. So be looking for some of this, and this will be the first things to feed into swag. Heck yeah. Very excited about that. And what else do we have here for news? Oh yes, don't forget to share the post when you watch them. Share it or do a repost or a duet or a stitch. We're starting to dive into more stitches ourselves now. So really appreciate you guys sharing the content that we have. That is one of the major fueling factors that makes them do so well. Also, we're going to have a short story prompt input area somewhere, probably on Linktree or on the website. We're going to start trying to do some AI generated stories to use as content for some different content, just as story time stuff. So if you want to put something on and just fall asleep to my voice, that can happen. I'll try not to enact any kind of subliminal things that would make you wake up and go to the fridge and like dump everything out. I won't do anything like that. Also, we are looking at other kinds of content that we can do. We may start doing some skit-driven things. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But the whole Thunder crew is getting involved on that part. So expect to see more things there soon. And I believe with that, we are ready for the very last story. Hey, Jenna. Welcome. You finally got alive. You promise because I can't afford that? Promise what? Oh, dumping everything out of your fridge. Yeah. No, if I'm hiding anything subliminal in there, it'll be like words of affirmation. So you wake up just feeling like a badass. You wake up and you're like, yeah, I was ready to take on the world. That's the kind of stuff that I'll be hiding in there. Oh, yep. Thank you so much. Oh, Corvid Pro. I had to read through your message a couple of times because for a second it was like, oh, snap. Them's fighting words. And I get it. I get it now. But yeah, my face just stuck like this for a minute. Expect a major thunderstorm. Oh, boy. That's funny. She's got a good sense of humor. Okay, this... Deep South Design. Why did you say that about the fridge? Now, if you end up doing that tonight before I even do this content that we're talking about hiding subliminal messages in, I can't be held responsible for that. There's going to be a bunch of posts tomorrow with us tagged in at Candy Thunder. It's going to be people sending us bills to replace everything in their fridge because they tore it all out. Just saying right now, we can't be held responsible. Especially with the price of eggs right now. Can't do it. All right, last story of the day here is, am I the thunderhole for wanting my husband to spend more time with our family? My husband and I have been together. I'm pretty sure I just said my husband. Yep, my brain is about to that point. My husband and I have been together for a decade and married for 5 years. We have a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old. He works 2 jobs and I'm a stay-at-home mom. It wasn't planned, but complications with our daughter made me have to quit. Then we realized it was doable, and he offered for me to continue staying home. Happy about that. But when he's not working, he sleeps, and then he goes out to help his friends or family do things, and he's rarely home. He tells me to put on the calendar scheduled family days, and he won't go out. But I feel like I shouldn't have to schedule family days for him to want to spend quality time with us. My husband goes, and does for everyone, and he can never say no, no matter how inconvenient it is for me. The other issue is I have zero social life, and when I do, I always have the kids. He never does until I get to a breaking point and give him no choice. He tells me all the time that if I can't handle being a stay-at-home mom, to get a job then, because me nagging on him all the time means I can't handle it. Yeah, buddy, you just earned yourself some red flags. It's not that I can't handle it or that I want to go back to work. It's just not fair that 98% of the time it's just me and the kids. I'm beyond appreciative of him working and providing for our family. I just wish quality time was more of a priority. Am I wrong here? Am I being unfair? Okay, so I had some hope for this guy, because if he goes and does for everyone, and he's asking you to schedule things, I think scheduling things might be a solution there, because what probably happens is someone says, hey, on Friday, do you mind coming by and helping me do this? And he's like, well, let me see what we have going on. And right then it's either he messages you to say, hey, do we have any plans for Friday? Or he looks at the calendar and sees that there are no plans on Friday. And if there's not something scheduled, he feels beholden to whoever is asking for his help. And he's going to say yes. And he's going to schedule it. So if you have something blocked off already, it's not so much about you having to schedule family time. It's about you reserving time that no one else can have. And the two of you could come to some kind of agreement here where you say, okay, this night per week is our safe family night. Okay. And like Candy Thunder and I have a time of day that is like dedicated family time. And then I won't start working again until later on that night. But I think creating those blocks of time, especially if he's someone who can't say no to helping other people, that will help. If for no other reason, it'll give him a reason why he can't help on a specific day. And that frees him up for you. Now, when he made the brozo move of saying that you nagging on him all the time means that you can't handle being a stay-at-home mom, that's when he went from me having hope to me just thinking he's a dumbass. Karen says, can we be honest? I'm betting he doesn't need personal time scheduled to remember. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that this guy doesn't take personal time, because if he goes and does. I know a lot of guys like these. I'm too selfish to be a guy like this, but I think if he is the kind of guy that I'm thinking he is, he truly is going to be booked 24/7 just helping other people. And if he's, a handyman or has a skill set that lends to helping people with those, he's the guy in the truck he's the guy in the family who has a truck. You know what I mean? It's like he's getting pulled by so many different people. If he is truly that guy and he just can't say no to them, blocking it, he probably doesn't have any like me time. Maybe that is his me time. Maybe that is what fills up his cup. But that might be an interesting angle. Like, why do you do this? Is it the thing that fills up your cup? And if it is, say, okay, great. I'm glad that you get to do that all the time. I don't have a me time thing to fill up my cup. And that's where him being a brozo and saying that her nagging about being a stay-at-home mom means that she can't handle it. It's not that she can't handle it. It's that it's hard to sustain without a break in there. And I can tell whenever Candy Thunder has been cooped up with Navy Thunder for too long and lacking adult interaction, because it's like you get stuck in this toddler world or this kid world, and you need that adult interaction. You need adult conversation, and you need me time. Those are things that everyone needs, and those are things that the husband here is getting and not thinking about how his wife doesn't get them. And that was one of the most enlightening things for me, staying at home, and staying at home every once in a while. And I have like one day or one half day now that I'll be home with Navy, but having those times and having extended periods that you essentially switch places is a very good educational experience. So it was disrespectful. It was stupid of him to open his mouth and say that. And maybe he just feels stuck, but him opening his mouth and saying that you can't handle it because you're nagging about it is like, okay, if you were at your job 24/7, at some point you would be complaining about needing something too. And it's not about the job. It's about with any gig, there's got to be some kind of break and there's got to be some kind of refresh and reset in there, and you just don't have that right now. So you've got to educate him on it somehow. You're not being wrong, or you're not being unfair. You're not wrong here. I do think scheduling some things and being proactive about that, you shouldn't have to do it. But while you're in a training and a pivot phase of blocking that time out so that other people can't take it away from you, that will at least be the beginning of a solution. And then you've got to enlighten him to how this isn't a you can't handle it thing. It's a 24/7 thing. And there's got to be some kind of respite in there, and there just isn't for you at all. And maybe you can switch places for a limited amount of time and show him what it's like. And I think he'll understand on the tail end of that, oh yeah, baby, you need a spa day. You need to go to like Vegas for 3 days straight and just focus on you. And I'm sure I'll be ready by the time you get back to go do the same. But it's taxing. It's taxing, and you need you time, especially to survive children. Need a break. Oh, Rachel sent us a ghost story. Sweet. I'd book a trip away with the kids and not him and wait for him to see what he says when you're going. Oh, that sounds like a spicy solution. Or make him show that he's being honest about the blocked off time. Yeah. If he wants you to block off time, well, this is actually something that I've said to Candy Thunder before too. I'm like, if you, there she is. She's trying to communicate and he's calling it nagging, making him block off the time, make him block off the time and be intentional. There you go. What I was getting ready to say before I saw her beautiful face and her name was that I've said to Candy Thunder before, if we need to have something planned, I need you to put it on the calendar, because my time, we have a whole team that can book time on my calendar. And if we don't block it off, especially if it's during a daytime thing and not an outside of business hours thing, but even weekends, sometimes I could have a video shoot booked. Like if there's something that we need to have reserved as us time, we've got to block it off on the calendar. We have to. And it is just being proactive, and it's just reserving time and making it easier for him to know where he needs to be. Because right now he's getting pulled by everybody. He probably is the guy in the family with the truck. And if you've watched part 1 of the podcast, you know that trucks are a tricky subject for the Thunders. You're good. All right, guys, we are finished with our last story here. We may wrap it up a little bit early unless you have some questions that we need to dive into. If she is scheduling time, she should do a once-a-month spa for Ma. Yeah, do it. You know what? You make a really good point there, Jenna. And like Candy Thunder said, be intentional or be proactive with it. Yeah, it's instead of just telling him, I need this, or here's the problem. Candy Thunder and I have talked a lot about, especially when we're really busy, if somebody's going to bring me a problem, I need them to at least bring an idea for a solution with it. So if you're going to make this turnkey and as easy as possible to turn around, when you do bring that problem and say, here's how I'm feeling, have that solution ready. And it sounds like you might have, but if you say, okay, here's what I'm going to do to make it easier for you. I am going to block off time for me to do a spa day once a month, or, on this every other Tuesday, or whatever it is. Going ahead and throwing it on the calendar makes it intentional. And that's also a signal to him that this thing is going to happen at this time. And, whether you should have to do it or not isn't the reality that you're in right now. So we're hardcore users of our calendars. And I think if your husband relies on his calendar as well, then that's where you need to communicate and block off those things. Him calling your communication nagging is bullshit, and that needs to change. But start with the time. Race has an audio recording that goes with the ghost story. Yeah. Send us a link to that if you can. Download link. Owning a truck brings out everyone in the family who doesn't own one. It sure does. All right. Yeah, go ahead and send us your. We didn't really talk about follower submissions, but you can absolutely send your story in at reddit-sedit.com, which at some point will be dusty-thunder.com, but we're not there yet. You can send your story in there. Also, if you are a member of the VIP group, excuse me, we will be stopping there first as we make new assets with the new brand, just to see what you guys think. And you will always be our first stop to kind of help us focus group that kind of stuff. So if you have a story submitted at reddit-sedit.com, don't forget we do have a YouTube channel that has a lot longer content and compilations. And we may be testing some live stuff out there at some point, but we're not there yet either. And Insta is still a good behind the scenes place. Since we recorded the podcast with Candy Thunder, I've almost been like in a cave just getting that finished editing, but I think we're through that now. So now we'll start seeing a lot more behind the scenes content and that kind of thing pop up. I've been in the trenches, very much so. So crawling out of it. And don't forget, as you're watching posts and you really like them, to share it, repost, duet, stitch, however you can share and help us get in front of more people. We deeply appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here today and taking part in yet another live. We will download this and we will upload it to YouTube so that people can watch it after the fact here. So thank you so much. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you live next Wednesday, but I'll see you with another video, I'm sure, before then. Probably tomorrow, and the next day, 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 and the next. All right, you all have a lovely evening. Be looking out for more content this week as we drop some of the TikTok versions of stories from the podcasts and normal stories in there as well. Plus, as long as Candy Thunder approves of the hatchet job that I'm sure I did on the stitches, we'll have some of those coming out soon too. Have a lovely evening. As soon as I decide to stop dancing to the music and end the stream. Okay, I'll spare you.